Some good news for workers on the Ghanaian Times this morning. Minimum wage up 10% from 8.80 pesos to 9.68 pesos. That's some good news there for workers. And then controversy rocks PNC over ambassadorial appointment of Dr. Mahama. 21 Tamale residents grabbed for illegal power connection. The statesman says, bombshell on NDC 2016 defeat, foreigners, miners were scared. Professor Botwe cites NPP vigilance. The Daily Guide, I planted spy gadget in minister's office, Enusa Fuseni, and government missing V8 car found at Ashaiman. The Daily Graphic says Enusa Fuseni apologizes for not notifying successors of recording device. The minimum wage story is also here, and several others on the Daily Graphic. The Finder, banks offer Cocoa Board $1.7 billion. That's far and above $1.3 billion. Request made to international banks. The PNC story also captured by the Heritage. The Today newspaper has the Galamsey story. Gav joins Galamsey fight and interrogate Inusa over spying device. That's according to Dr. Kwesieni. Those are some of the news I have with me this morning. My guest to do the talking, Edgar Wedu, talks a lot, speaks, sleeps about insurance. That's what he does. The others I'm waiting for. Edgar, good morning. I hope you're doing good.
By His grace, managing.
Your other panelists are still on the way. They'll join us very soon.
No problem.
But let's start from here. The story has attracted a lot of concerns, and of course, right so. The majority leader in Parliament is worried about it. Efforts have been made to get to the bottom of it. But the Daily Graphic says that the man who said he planted the thing has apologized to his successors for not notifying them of the device. Now, he said that he owned up as being the brain behind the installation of the device and said, I apologize to my successors. The device was not activated. That's according to him. That is why when the security agency went to sweep the office the first time, they did not receive any signal that a device had been planted here. He told journalists in Accra. He said he was prepared to also cooperate with investigations into the matter. He explained that he took the decision after the national security had informed him to be careful about his personal security. He said the firestorm that had greeted the news about the device was to be allayed with the assurance that there was no ill motive behind it. So, Edgar, he apologized, but there are calls for him to be interrogated further. It's in the right direction to get more from him.
Well, excuse me, good morning. I think that the way we at times rush and then, speak on some of these issues does not really help in the nature of investigations that needs to come up. The question you need to ask yourself is, why you see, the statement you are hearing tends to suggest a certain motive as if he planted it for the purposes of knowing what is happening in the ministry whilst he's not there. That is all that is trying to play around, because he's left, Osamils did come in, now Amewu is in there. And if you listen to the people, all the things that they are trying to suggest is as if he had a negative, he did it deliberately for something.
To spy on the now,
that is the man minister who is sitting in the chair. That is the impression that the whole thing is being, created. You understand? But then the other side of the matter too is that if you want to listen to Fuseni himself, he was advised by the then national security couples that, well, for the sake of your own security, because of the fight against Galamsey and all that, there's a need for you to put one or two things in place. The question that arises is, so who actually knew that that thing was there? Who knew that he had installed something at that place? The previous national security that advised, did they indicate anywhere that such a gadget has been installed? Let's look at the wild case scenario. So, as if something happened to him. And the next thing, he could not speak. Nobody knows what has happened to him. Who would know that there's something there that needs to be picked up to find out what went wrong? It's just like you have a CCTV camera around. So automatically, when something goes wrong, you go and then play back to see what is it. In this particular regard, the gadget is there. Who knows that the gadget is actually there? And assuming something had gone wrong, somebody would have said that there's something here, so let's go pick it up. Who knew? So it becomes a little bit, murky, because the real motive, as he explains, I can understand, yes, he planted it there for his own security, but for some funny reason, the thing was not working. Could it be that because the thing was not working, so he totally forgot that, he had planted something there? And true, I mean, from what they are saying, national security has picked it up.
Right.
And then when they picked it up, they didn't get any information from it. So what is it about? I think it's just going to be one of those unnecessary exercises that will come to nothing.
You think the public is overreacting, thinking that he might have planted it there to spy on the now minister?
Yes, of course. I mean, sorry. The problem we have is this, the kind of bitterness that we have in this our system, the kind of envy that exists amongst us. You see, the political drive in this country has become so bad that we see our fellow brothers as enemies because we are divided. So no one wants to even have a positive thought about somebody. Yes, of course, the public will react. And even the way Amewu has also reacted, I was not expecting him to react that way. You understand? At times, you need to be a little bit moderate. And
is it not human?
No, you see, that's what I'm saying. That the fact that it has happened, you see, and that's what I'm saying. The way you speak to the issue, that is what brings about the problem. You get it? Listen to Osam Mills. Osam Mills is making a statement that he felt very naked when he got to know that something of this sort was there. So why wouldn't it be Osam Mills who should be more in, because he took over from Inusa, right? Whoever knew Amewu would be there. It could have been any other NDC minister getting back to that office. So it's like you, I mean, you just happen to be around. So you are not really the target, if it is a case. Because Inusa was there, he shifted, and then Osam Mills came in.
And the gadget was still there.
And the gadget was still there. Amewu, you were nowhere near the parameters. No one, Amewu, you never knew that MPP would win for you to be minister for what? Lands. So yours is just a coincidence, and then you should leave it like that. So it's rather, if anything at all, Osam Mills should have been the first casualty. And he should be asking the question, oh, could it be that as I was taking over from you, something, so you decided to, he should be the one to be doing this thing, because you just came to meet it. So that's what I'm saying. At times, the way we jump to some of these issues, it's not too good, and then it increases the bitterness the more. You see,
it sends a signal that there's still that polarization.
It is not a question of there is still.
On the other.
It is not a question of there is still. We are deeply divided in this country, right? And as we are, that is why you will hardly hear any NDC man really criticizing his own party. Likewise, getting an MPP man criticizing his own party. You won't get it. Because the MPP man will see everything right before the MPP does. So the NDC man will also see everything right before. When they shift positions, now they begin to see everything wrong with the other person.
How has national security handled this?
National security has always been a disappointment. And I think it's about time our leaders sat down and took a holistic view of national security. You see, a national security which is also polarized. Because you see, the president comes into office and he says that, hey, all the previous guys at national security, get off. I bring in my new people. Whose interests are they going to protect?
Of course, the president.
Exactly. So they would never be objective in the things they do.
But can he ever work with the other people who were there, who were protecting the other?
And that is what I'm saying, that if you take the political thing out of national security, maybe you want to do it like the way we treat those specific bodies. whose term of office is not conterminous with the president, work like the way the public services would work, right? If it's time for retirement, get out of it. And let's get professionals to sit in there. Because the national security we have in this our country, take it from Rawlings's time to date, all they do is to chase political opponents. That is all they do. That is all national security has been doing. BNI, everything that they do is chase political opponents. In terms of what the real national situation is, if national security has been working, the problem of Galamsey would not have arisen. If national security were working, the problem that you're having with Pantan Hospital, encroachments here, Achimota school lands, this and this, they will not have working. National security don't know what they are doing. All they are doing is go and chase political opponents. And that is the danger. As we're sitting here today, you ask yourself certain simple questions. National security has not got a clue of anything. Look, I always say this thing. This man who was at National Health Insurance.
Under the NDC?
Under Sylvester
Mensah.
Sylvester Mensah. He was alleged to have whatever it was. 15 people with guns went to his house. 15 human beings with guns went to his house to go and arrest him. National security. Why can't they use those 15 people to go chasing the Galamsey people? You are going to invite Sylvester Mensah to the BNI office. 15 people with guns went there. Is this what you call national security?
I see. but if the country or our politics is polarized the way you say it, then we are not likely to see a national security that really has the interests of the state or the security of the state at heart.
You're perfectly right. That is exactly the case. That's what I'm saying. Look, for instance, look at what just came out of this bust matter. Look at the way national security just brought something. I mean, so it is clear, but I'm saying that the professional aspect, just like Nana Akufo-Addo says that he wants to set up the office of a special prosecutor. Okay, so if that office of the special prosecutor is set up, that office is not going to run conterminous with the president.
Right.
So it means you have somebody who is sitting there permanently with his staff. So when it's time for pension is due, he goes, the president in time of that day would make a new appointment or whatever, be it another, if a body is supposed to do it, fine. So here, it's just like the way the judiciary runs.
Right.
You see, like the way the judiciary runs. So regardless of whoever is in power as a president, that office is still running as an independent office and it will do exactly what the mandate has been given to them to do. So I don't look over my shoulders and say, this is my man or that's not mine. Look at the case of the Muntie tree. What did national security do? They rubbished it.
They said there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the people were not really, they don't have the capacity to cause any harm as they said.
But prior to that, see the way some people were picked up. You see the way some people were picked up. And even in the early days of the NPP in Kufuor's administration, see the way the lives of Chachudems were picked up. You know,
some from church,
some from church, and all those kind of things. Dr. Prempe and all those. The way they treat it, you see that. So you see, the thing is like as if they come there with the sole aim that it is a revenge time. Let's go and then do this. Let's go and do that. So with the right thinking, if the authorities in question sit down and say that, look, we want this nation to move forward. There's about time we put certain structures in place. So all these institutions, we must get them out of the political stream. That is the only time we will begin to appreciate the job of the national security.
Is it easy to do that?
Of course. It's just a question of a decision.
It has to come from whoever leads the country.
Yes. Listen, this is the situation on the ground. Akufo-Addo is in the chair. If he sees that the way national security is working is not in the interest of the state, it's just a question of asking his attorney general to bring a legislative document, okay, to prepare a bill to cabinet. And the cabinet will look at it and then the existing laws the National Security Act, look at it and what have you, see where the Constitution is, and blah, 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 and send it to Parliament. And it becomes a new thing.
So from Mr. Rawlings, Mr. Kufuor, Professor Mills, Mr. John Mahama, now Nana Addo, does it then mean that because these leaders will benefit from the inactions or actions of the national security, they wouldn't want to do what you're talking about?
And that's what I'm saying, that it is just like Nana Addo. Okay, you ask yourself the question. Rawlings has been there.
Right.
Kufuor has been there. Prof has been there. John Mahama has been there. Nana Addo sits down and he thinks that, no, we need a special prosecutor. Why is it that the other four did not see the need for a special prosecutor?
Because they benefit from...
whether they benefit or not,
no special prosecutor.
You see, it is all about leadership. It is all about vision. It's about what you think you want to do to move the country forward. You think that the Aegis Department has been compromised, and therefore the Attorney General cannot do certain things because the Attorney General has been a member of the ruling party, and therefore when members of that party mess up, they can't take action against them. So it happens in the other way around. So when a new Attorney General comes, then he's going for the people within the previous, and then they say it is witch hunting. So a new one comes, then they go for the previous ones. It's the same thing like the national security issue. So Akufo-Addo in his wisdom says that, look, let's put an end to this. Let's get a special prosecutor who is out of political touch. So wherever it is going to do his work. So that is a step in the right direction. Even though some of us were still of the view that the Attorney General could have done it.
Right.
But then he says he wants to do it this way. Fine, let's see how it goes. In that same way, you can take the national security to input another cap and say, look, you are for the nation. You are for the states. You are not for the government. So behave and do things rightly for the states. And that is why I'm saying that if national security were really working, Galamsey would not have reached here. If they were really working, we would not have gotten to where we got, because they sit down and their job is, let's go and chase our opponents. And that's the bottom matter.
Let's move on, Edgar. The Times has a story. Controversy rocks PNC over ambassadorial appointment of Dr. Mahama. Other newspapers have it too. Daily Graphic, the Daily Guide, the Today News, all of them have it. But the PNC says that it is worried that the party was not consulted and that Dr. Mahama should have rejected the offer. That's according to the National Treasurer of the party, Akani Adams. He says that he did not need the party's, he is rather suggesting that the PNC, Dr. Mahama needed the party's permission to go on. Now, Atiq Mohammed, who is the General Secretary of the PNC, says that Dr. Mahama should resign, and that's the story so far. Don't forget his position, ambassador at large. I see Edgar laughing. Is it? The other side is that we're looking for an all-inclusive government, but the PNC isn't happy here. Is the PNC overreacting to this?
Well, first of all, I must say, I have never believed in this business of all-inclusive government.
It doesn't work?
It is unnecessary.
It doesn't deal with the polarization you just spoke about?
Let me ask you this question. If you are talking about all-inclusive, the president in the seat at that time, he invites you to be part of his government. Are you coming to implement your ideas?
No.
You implement his ideas. So where's the issue of all-inclusiveness?
At least the other party feels we're part of this government.
And I'm saying that by you are saying you are that party, you have your own ideology. You have your own ideas. It's just, I always say, look, it's like we're in Accra here. We go to Kumasi. Someone says, let's go through in Sawam. Someone decides that let's go through Ebri, Manfe, whatever. Someone can say, let's go through Mankesim to Kumasi. So those are the different paradigms that we have. So if the one who wants to go through in Sawam is now in a seat and invites you that you said you want to use Ebri, you that want to use Mankesim, you all come together. Are you going to use your Ebri or Mankesim? You go by what he wants. So at the end of the day, there's nothing like all-inclusiveness. I mean, let's get it straight. You will come and they have co-opted you. Okay, like this particular case, as Mahama has been put there as ambassador at large, is he going to do what he wants?
No, certainly
he's going to do what President Akufo-Addo wants. So that question of all,
but his party supporters see him as being part of this government, and so they'll feel a part of it. Listen,
and that's why I'm saying that. So far as it is not your ideas that are going to be on the table, and there's a human being who is going to kowtow to the ideas of some other person, it is not all inclusiveness.
So the PNC is right then in what you're saying?
No, not that they are right in what they are saying. I just only wanted to tell you my view about all inclusiveness. Yes, I'm saying that I don't believe in that all inclusiveness thing. Look, you know one problem that we have in this country, the hypocrisy is just too much. Okay? And so if Mahama says he's resigned from PNC today, then what happens? Okay, all the noise, I've resigned from PNC, then what happens? I mean, some things are totally unnecessary. PNC, you don't really exist. PNC, you don't exist. Yes, maybe in the books of our country, we'll say we have a party called PNC. But who are you? Tell me what major impact you've made in any of our elections.
They had an MP in the last parliament.
I said, tell me the impact you've made in any of our elections. You understand? Mahama at one point in time was booted out, and then they brought Isaiah-Yariga, right? And he himself, I doubt whether he would have even gone for another, how do you call it, presidential bid. Okay? There are certain things that we just make noise for, noise sake. Whether you sack him or not, you ask the question, what does Mahama lose when you even sack him from the party? It's totally unnecessary. I mean, the man, look, the president says that I have identified some qualities in you. And the qualities that I have identified, right, will help Ghana. Will help Ghana. If you think that your political party is stronger than Ghana, so be it. In Kufuor's time, when he found it necessary that he should pick Chambers, right, to go and do his job at the African Pacific, whatever they call it.
The African Pacific organization then.
He should go there. Why didn't he pick anybody from MPP? He was the president, and he could have chosen him. The same thing about Spielgabra when this Commonwealth came out. Why did he endorse him? He could have said he's not an MPP man, so he will not endorse him. Why didn't they make noise? When even Betty Mould was given this human rights, job, was it not the same Nana Akufo-Addo who put paper and pen and wrote serious recommendations about Betty Mould, and it was accepted? Look, I think we better use our time wisely. You know,
I'm grateful. We'll move on. Let's look at this story on the Finder. The banks offer Cocoa Board $1.7 billion, far and above the $1.3 billion loan request made to the banks. So Cocoa Board is once again on the journey to get loans to buy cocoa. Now, after a roadshow in London, in the United Kingdom, Cocoa Board has received $1.7 billion worth of bids from international banks. We're told that Cocoa Board had targeted $1.3 billion, but that was to buy 850,000 metric tons of cocoa beans. The banks are offering 1.7 above what they want. Now, we're told that the loan is oversubscribed by over $400 million, and this amount could further go up as a syndicated loan is still open for more lenders to join until September last year. Now, get this news. We're told that last year, Cocoa Board asked for $1.8 billion. That had been exhausted, and yet Cocoa Board has more payment to be made. Mr. Owusu-Hajima, who chairs the board of Cocoa Board, is suggesting that there was some indiscipline in the use of the money picked last year. Edgar, let's start from here. Every year, Cocoa Board goes out there to get a loan to buy cocoa. The key question some are asking is that Is it that they are unable to make profit so that they cannot save some of the money or the profit they make from the purchase of cocoa to use for the next year's buying, and so would always have to go in every year to borrow cocoa? Can we ever stop borrowing to buy cocoa?
No, the question is this, that, you see, it's run for about 4 or 5 years. It's not just this. They are not able to make the tonnage.
From the monies they go
Yes, you see, so it is like, at a point in time, you took 2 billion. You could not supply the 2 billion. So it means your tonnage was falling down. And in this particular case, even if you read the story, they are talking about 1.3 billion,
right,
targeting 850 metric tons. Okay. Now, they are giving you 1.7, which means you are expected to go beyond the 850 metric tons. And you realize that you keep falling, you keep dropping by the day. So you are not able to do it. And therefore, you become indebted to the
banks.
The banks, okay? And then at times you want to ask yourself, at what interest rates are some of these things, going?
We don't get told about this.
No, at times when you get to know some of, I think the last time is about 2%, something funny, I've forgotten. So you see, it's like someone says it's an advance payment, an advance payment for you to then supply, But this particular issue, for me, it's one very, very important thing. And I think Ghanaians have not taken time to look at this cocoa thing well. Cocoa has been the backbone of this economy for all these years, right? And it continues to still be the backbone of the economy. And I am having a difficulty why we cannot really see it as such and harness, improve upon that. Today, as we sit, some of these cocoa farms have been taken over by galamseyers. You see? And Cocoa Board is sitting down. The Finance Ministry is sitting down. And this is some of the issues I talk about, national security. At times I ask myself whether when we talk about national security, their impression is only guns or arms or so. What, I don't know whether that is how but they don't know that all these things are part of it, because the security of the state is being threatened if there is no money.
Right.
I had a problem with my friends in the business world. At times some of the statements they make when this whole oil saga came up. And then Ghana's oil. Cocoa is even doing better than oil.
Right. Looking at the revenues.
Yes, cocoa is doing better than oil. And you see, we are not even seeing it. Oil has done nothing for this country. For how many years now? 2007 or so that we found it. And then I think the first drop came in 2010 or something. Oil revenue has not hit $5 billion. Cocoa is always above $1 billion. And we still do not see it. And sadly enough, you and your colleague journalists, your friends, when you are talking to us, then you come and make unnecessary noise, deceiving the public, that Ghana has found oil in commercial quantities. You are not even striking 150 barrels a day with all your how many fields. You are not even striking that. So you ask yourself, if you are talking about, let's even say 200,000 barrels a day, and you call it commercial quantities, Nigeria, which is over 1 billion, how would you call theirs? Venezuela is over 4 billion. Iran over 3 billion. Russia over 7. Saudi over 9. The USA over 10 billion a day.
So that's what the problem is.
And then you make noise. You make noise by telling us that how do you call it? Your 200,000 barrels is commercial quantities. Saudi Arabia is about $9 million barrels a day. At times, the U.S. fluctuates between $9 to $10 million. Their barrels
a day.
Some are between 4, 5, 3, and you are making just 200,000. less than even that, and you are calling it commercial quantities. And people are making noise that, and then the oil is coming from it. You get what? The cocoa is doing better. So if we are serious as a people, we should know where to actually put our efforts. Cocoa has been the backbone. And one of the interesting things I've always said is this. Today, as we sit, right, it's good that the government has identified that agric is the area to go. But have we identified the right kind of things to do with agric? Planting for jobs and that sort of thing, fine. But is that what is really going to quantum leap this country? Certainly not.
It is not.
The $15 billion that you have gone to China to, talk about, those pledges that you've gone, for which you say you are going to leverage your bauxite with. The question you need to ask yourself is that, in trying to get that bauxite out of the ground, do you know the cost, the damage you are going to do to the soil, the damage you are going to do to the degradation of our land? Have you costed it? And you match it against the 15 billion. And the other question you need to ask yourself, I keep saying, sir, if Indonesia can export palm oil 1 year and make $17 billion, and you have a fertile land here, and you are still not seeing it, and you think you need to run to China for 15 billion, then you've gotten it wrong. We can make that money here. We've always said it. Just go back to the ground. Just go back to the ground and do it. The ground is for you. The soil will never lost. All the minerals you have in your ground, it is finite. You will do whatever, and it will get exhausted. So where are you going to get money again from? As for the land, it is there for you.
Edgar, from where you're going, then it suggests that really we may not be on the path that we've been talking about, trying to get us out of the woods economically.
We wouldn't get it because, I've always said that at times it's very difficult to understand how some of our people, they really do their dynamics. Look, a country like Japan, for nothing at all, remember Hiroshima. A country that the land is nothing. They don't have anything like what you have. Today, earthquake that, tomorrow this, trembling, all that kind of. They don't have what you have. But look at them. Look at them today. One of the super giants.
But isn't that what Nanado is trying to do? So let's get the Chinese to come and industrialize, get our bauxite out of the earth, set up huge factories and get this country.
And I'm saying that if Indonesia can plant palm oil, I bet. If they can plant, and their exports alone for last year is $17 billion.
We don't have to go mine.
You don't need wasting your time on your bauxite. Use that land, the land that you are going to dig, which you damage the land. Go and plant, and you make money, and you use that money to solve the problems you have in your country.
Let's go to the Ghanaian Times this morning. Ghana to introduce non-custodian sentencing law. That's the Vice President talking there. The story says that plans are underway for the introduction of the non-custodian sentencing law to offer more non-custodial sentence options to judges. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has said the decision, according to the Vice President, is to avoid congestion, human rights abuses, and other associated problems in the country's prisons. Now, the story says that the non-custodial sentence is a punishment given by a court that does not involve a prison term. The Vice President was speaking at the inauguration of the Prison Service Council in Accra. He said government would champion the introduction of the non-custodian sentencing law to bring relief to prisons. He commended the Justice for All program. He said the introduction of the law would complement the program and reduce congestion in the prisons. Edgar, this is long overdue. Our prisons are choked, isn't it?
Our prisons are not choked.
With people?
You know, honestly, at times I have a problem with the way we look.
We see the pictures there, dehumanizing.
It's been long overdue. Human rights activists, everybody is talking about. Of course, The prisons are choked, and therefore you think that you needn't allow that thing to happen. But common sense approach, build more prisons. You can't be them because the prisons are choked, so the criminals should be working in town.
Where's the money?
The money that they used to buy over 600 V8s. They could have used the money to build the prisons.
I see.
I mean, you know, some things I don't really get it.
Edgar, you're suggesting we don't need the vehicles. It's not what you're suggesting.
No, you are asking the question that where's the money? I said, tell me, all those 600 and something V8s that we bought, of what use did they serve this country? If you are sitting down and mental health is asking for how much?
Some 200 million. So that's the last thing I heard Dr. Kwesio said.
How do you call it? Some small money to, you know, take care of things. They can't get it, right? Was it last year or last 2 years? A similar thing happened at mental hospital.
Therefore, look at the pictures on your screens now. These are prisons. Some inmates in there. See, that's how they sleep.
Yes, and I said I agree that the place is congested.
Right.
But then the solution is not non-custodial sentence. The solution is to build more prisons. Because you see, if you get to a situation and say because the places are congested, so the criminals, you have to be what? They have to be working with you in town because there's no place for them to be. Then
if someone steals a bunch of plantain, it's going to sweep.
You know, one of the things that is why today the lawlessness in this country is just too much. The indiscipline in this country is just too much. When even a policeman is standing there, right, directing traffic, some human beings sitting on motorbikes can come and push him away, and they do what they want on the road. These are some of the, and you're saying that we should allow them to continue because there's no place. I wouldn't buy that.
So for you, non-custodial centers is not the solution.
It's not the solution. The thing is build more prisons so that anyone who does not value the presence of his fellow human being, anyone who thinks that he will not let his fellow human being have peace, when he goes in there, those of us who want to have peace will have it.
You're suggesting that certain offenses, no matter how light they are, these persons should spend time in jail. That's what you're suggesting.
The essence of it is that you are supposed to go there for you to reform. You understand? But if I'll commit that crime, and what you are saying is non-custodial, so maybe in the morning they'll tell me to come and sweep in front of the Flagstaff house. So that is my punishment. Then after that, I go to my home. What is it really? In the morning, I should go to, how do you call it, 37, and go and sweep there. Yeah. Then I go back home, and I go and be with my friends.
It will not deter people enough.
It will not. Go there. When you see some of the things that are there, it serves as a warning. And when people get to know that because of this action, it landed Mr. A there, they would also think twice in not doing the same thing. But if at the end of the day, nothing is happening, what happens?
The Vice President also talks about modernizing our prisons. He's talking about rehabilitation, reform, reintegrating deviant. But I'll come back to you on that. Johnny Hughes has just joined us. Johnny, some comments coming in from
exactly. And you see, Bright, the Vice President's comments that some of the prisons need modification. The Nsawam prison and the Ankafo prison are about the only prisons that are well built, you know, for reformation. All the others were either castles and forts converted into. Yeah, so we've been talking about this for a long time, and maybe I would disagree slightly with Edgar, because custodial sentences, for me, are not the only way to go.
You want more people to,
yes,
do the sweeping and the
cleaning of the gutter, dredging of the odor. We put people out there in prison. We feed them, actually.
All right.
And when they get ill, we go and treat them.
Let's hear the comment. We'll
yes. Good morning, Brighton Co. I strongly support you saying that Ghanaians should not politicize the Pantan Hospital problem because it's a national issue. Good morning to my MP and Deputy Minister for Tourism, Creative Arts and Culture and Creative Act, Dr. Zeblim Idi Buzuwa. Augustine from our province says TV3 should follow the development story of the NHI cards and then push for a new voters register before 2020. This should not be a protest by a political party, but a station like TV3 can lead the way. It's our citizenship right, not a political right. Don't be surprised with this Pantan Hospital land issue. In this country, we see everything normal and try to justify it, but big men in this country are not serious. Most of them think about their stomachs only. We're jokers in this country. Good morning. This from Honorable Techacha. Well, I think there's a clear failure on the part of national security to discover something that was inside the minister's office for 6 months is incompetent. I cannot pretend to accuse an honest honorable like Inusa Fusini. Good morning, TV3, please. Edward Mahama was the one who sacked the former youth and sports minister under the Kufuor regime, Malam Yusuf Issa, from the PNC just because he accepted the position without informing the party national executives. Ismaila Horoya Ali said that one. Right, you know, Neo Samuels has been granted a lot of interviews lately. I feel surprised because while he was in office, you call him to speak to you on radio and he wasn't speaking. But now, ever since...
Well, Edgar feels is the one who should be complaining and and not Mr. Emao.
Right. Anyway, thank you. Right,
Johnny, we're grateful. Edgar.
No, but I think what Johnny is saying, you know, I don't agree with Johnny at all.
That we spend money in feeding them.
No, he says we need people to dredge the what?
The other.
We have people there. We have people working. Why has AMA employed a lot of people to do the work? We have a lot of people working. Zoom Lion every morning, 4:30 a.m. and things. You see, there are people sweeping the roads and things. We have people. You see, I always say that, you know, Ghanaians, maybe we've forgotten. When that man came around in 1982, exactly. Because of that little thing he did there, until John Mahama decided to do his circle Dubai, people still never walked in that circle area.
On the loans.
No, people never walked because something was wrong there. And that's what I'm saying that for me, I've heard the human rights advocates talking about this for more than 15 years now. When Commissioner Short was in office, they've talked about all this decongesting. The decongesting is important. But the question you are saying is that the best way to decongest is to build. It's not to say non-custodial. That is my argument. You want to decongest the place. Yes, it has to be decongested because all kinds of human activities, infections and whatnot, certainly is not the right thing to do. There must be a standard of maintaining people in prisons. So the question is this. Spend money in building other prisons. I thought even as part of the NDC manifesto, I thought they even had
to build some prisons.
To build some prisons. Right. That is the solution. It's not a question of non-custodial. So when the people mess up, it's a non-custodial because the prisons are what choked.
But I guess you will agree with the Viceman when he says that we need more modern prisons.
So if you need modern prisons, what does it mean? We are building a new prison. Yeah. So go and build. And stop the non-custodial matter.
Right. Finally, let's wrap up on this one. Ghana Armed Forces to join Galamsey fight. We're told that the Ghana Armed Forces has indicated their commitment and preparedness to join the fight against illegal mining. The move by GAF, according to Defense Minister, was after President Nana Addo has tasked them to lead the fight. This was when he was addressing traditional leaders and chiefs at a 2-day sensitization workshop in Accra yesterday. He said that Mr. Nitu said government will soon deploy armed security personnel to 20 illegal mining communities to clamp down on illegal miners. Edgar, finally on this one, government started the advocacy to let people know why it is wrong. We've got to a point now. This is, I guess, the third pillar. Get the armed forces into it and stop it once and for all. We should be on course in stopping Galamsey now with this.
I think it's long overdue. As I said, that if national security were doing its job properly, we wouldn't have reached wherever. Be as it may, we're there. Now, the armed forces are coming in. Fine. You know, as the commander-in-chief says, but I think the commander-in-chief, he should stop his, I call it unnecessary diplomacy. You see, Ghana has reached, Yes, you know, Ghana has reached a certain level that things must be done in some robust and firm way. And I mean, you crack it. There's not a time to come and... No. We've gone beyond that now. That kind of diplomacy, Akufo-Addo must stop. Crack it. You are serious. You know, I'll tell you one of the things. His image before presidency, okay, some man of incorruptible nature, someone who is firm with the rule of law and all that. That is the image that this man had out there. So to the outside world, there's a lot of confidence and things that they're expecting to see. But for some funny reason, Nana Addo comes into the chair now and is like, I've relaxed. At times, as if even talking is a problem.
He's not warming up into the seat. He's only 6 months old.
You know one thing? Nobody says turn the economy around in 6 months. That is why you have a 4-year mandate. But you should have set time. The first 6 months, what is expected of you? The next 6 months, what is expected of you? The following 6 months, what? You see targets. You want to be achieving certain things. So these are the parameters that you set yourself to. And sir, currently 6 months, so far as some of us are concerned, we ain't seen nothing. We ain't seen nothing. And it's really disturbing. You know, it's disturbing. As I keep saying, maybe some of us may have put so much premium on him. And because of that, we're getting disappointed.
Is it not too early to get disappointed?
Gentlemen, I said by 6 months, we should start seeing certain things. You should look.
If government said it's putting the measures in place and these things will work,
look, there are certain things that
it doesn't take time to.
I've always asked, you know, the journalists. I said, David Asante Apietu was appointed the IGP. What have we seen change in the police service?
There's now some transfers.
What is transfer?
Trying to realign the work of the
and what has it brought about? Have we stopped seeing the motor riders who are crossing the red lights? They are still doing it. The police officers who are sitting down and with their WhatsApping by the roadside, we are still seeing it. Policemen are standing in road directing traffic and they are speaking on cell phones and laughing. We are still seeing it. So what has changed? What is new? Just transfers. So that transfers, what has it brought? You expect to see things happening. The president comes and he says that he wants Accra to be the nicest city. This thing, I always talk about it. I said, it's so sad. The street light just opposite the Flagstaff House. A ripped off Ghana flag is in front of it, torn into pieces, and it is still there.
You're not happy about it?
I mean, certainly not. I mean, when these things are happening, is that the best for the society? After 6 months of elections, we still have billboards, vote for this man, vote for that. On the Medina Road, you see some MPP line, dirty things all over the place, banners. 6 months after elections, you still have all these political party posters scattered all over the area. I mean, what is it?
Edgar, I'm grateful for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time, Edgar Redu. Talks and sleeps about insurance. He knows so much about insurance. And he's been my man for this morning. My two other panelists from the NPP and the NDC simply failed to show up. I guess they were scared Edgar was going to hit hard on the two of them. So that's why they failed up. But those of you who stayed out there to be part of the show, we're grateful for your time too. We stepping on the brakes now. Sports is next.